All
right, great. Thanks.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna, oh, that's the wrong one. Okay. I just put the YouTube link into the Zoom chat. So then I guess Jay posting our Discord, Connor, do what you want with that with your Discord. And I know it's 6:02 Eastern. We'll wait a little bit, maybe 2-3 minutes. That way everyone can kind of grab their food, settle in. Actually, Connor, are you guys already? Is everyone already in line getting food, or?
No, not in line yet. We've got everything lined up. We're just waiting for more people to trickle in, and then we'll form a line. Yeah, how come?
Oh no, I just figured I didn't want to distract them if they were in the middle of lining up for food or your team and all that. So
no, I think you should go ahead and start.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Okay. All right.
Sweet. Thanks.
No problem. Enjoy your dinner.
Yes, appreciate it.
Okay, so everyone, Hack NC State and HackDW3C. My name is Scotty Shaw. I'm getting better at introducing myself because I always forget. And I'm here to talk about tokenizing carbon credits. And I'll explain a little bit more what that really means. But why I would decide to talk about this is because it does two things for Hack NC State. Carbon credits, it is part of environmental concerns. How do you improve the environment or what we do to the environment? And then the tokenization part, that's a little bit more Web3, not entirely, which I'll explain. It does sound like Web3, but it actually depends on the application. And the main thing is with tokenizing carbon credits, if you decide to build a project that does that, then what happens is you have a project for Hack NC State, which you can submit tomorrow. And then you also have a Web3 environmental project that you could submit to HackDW3C in 2 weekends. What happens is you're eligible for Hack NC State prizes immediately with this carbon credit related project. And then having the tokenization part also makes you eligible for HackDW3C. And one of the big prizes we're offering through our sponsor Hedera is $7,500 for the winner of their corporate challenge, which is using Web3 for reducing your carbon footprint. So rather than just one hackathon, you actually can build one project and be eligible for 2 hackathons with possibly 75, 8, I guess depending on your prize breakdown at Hack NC State, you could be winning close to around $8,000. Obviously it's not just about the money. It's about the environment. I just want to clarify that the monetary incentive is there. Now, in terms of the environment, I think one thing I want you to start with this to kind of get a feel for all this. So first, everyone take a deep breath. All right. And you take another deep breath. And then take another deep breath. So during that time, you probably felt something, right? Maybe you felt time passing by. You're thinking, hurry up, speaker. Maybe you feel stress melting away because, taking a deep breath, kind of slowing things down, that helps out. Maybe some of you just choked on your food. So now you feel like time's passing very quickly and your stress is increasing exponentially. You're about to die, Heimlich maneuver. Hopefully you're alive. But the main thing is you just now, to some degree, a little bit more than usual, you noticed time, a little bit of stress, right? At least stress, decreasing. So if you think of it this way, what if you can increase the number of hours you have each day, right? Let's say you have a midterm coming up. What if you could buy the 2 hours your friend has that he's not using, or maybe your mom has a few hours, she can let you have it, right? Or maybe you're fine with 24 hours. It's just that the load of stress you're dealing with, you wish you could handle a heavier load of stress, right? Either one works, but the main thing for you is which would you rather do? Would you rather buy or sell units of time or units of bandwidth, capacity, whatever you want to call it, your ability to deal with stress? It's a really nice thing to be able to do that. But if we're going to be real about it, if you look at the longevity of our environment, our world, we don't really have an ability to buy more time. It's not like basketball where Duke shows up at NC State and then we somehow lose to y'all all the time. And of course, our problem is half the time we make a comeback in the last 3 minutes and then we run out of time. So if you think of it this way, then you realize for the environment, you can't really increase the amount of time, but you can deal with the capacity. Now, we're not saying the environment necessarily you can increase the capacity of the environment, but for all of us individually, how much carbon do we put out into the environment, right? That's the main thing. So what happens is, well, I guess it already happened. There's been several international climate and environment agreements, but two of them in 1997 and 2015. 1997, there's the Kyoto Protocol, and then 2015, the Paris Agreement, which I think most of us are probably more familiar with the Paris Agreement just because that's more recent. But clearly, 26 years ago, we were already talking about it if people were showing up in Japan to sign this protocol. And the main thing is this, there's this idea that, which has worked pretty well, if we set international carbon dioxide emission goals, CO2 emission goals, then we can start coordinating, maybe not country to country as effectively as we'd like, but at least within each country, we're committing to saying, all right, each person, each business, try to reduce your carbon footprint. We do recognize that some companies, some people need to emit more for various purposes and sometimes very legitimate purposes. But the problem is collectively, what are we going to do, right? So this is where I want to talk about terminology a little bit. There's carbon credits and carbon offsets, and people use them interchangeably, but they're actually a little different. So carbon credits, it's kind of like I'm going to let you do something, right? How much carbon are you allowed to emit? I'm going to let you emit, say, 2 units of credit or carbon, but then someone else can emit 5. And you might think, well, I actually need one more. Can I buy one from them? So then instead of 2 carbon credits, you can have 3. Instead of 5, they only need 4. So perfectly, you're both hitting your capacity, but you're not exceeding it. You're not going to get penalized or anything. That what I described just now it's actually called carbon offsets, but because you're buying from each other. But where I give you 2 credits, I give someone else 5 credits. That's more vertical. That's carbon credits. Now where you trade and sell between each other, so you can adjust for yourselves, that's horizontal. That's carbon offsets, and that's why the 2 are used very, very interchangeably. So carbon credits, that's where, say, I'm in charge of deciding who can use how much. I'm giving you carbon credits that you can use up, but then once you hit capacity, you might start trading that with other companies. And another key thing to remember is carbon credits. It's allowing you to increase carbon, but in a controlled manner. Carbon offsets, you can actually say, all right, I'm reducing carbon by some amount. Maybe you're removing carbon from the atmosphere. Maybe you're simply saying, I'm just not putting out as much carbon as I thought, and I'm giving someone else the carbon credits they need so they can operate. So the main thing is carbon credits and offsets. They do form 2 slightly different markets, but the basic unit is the same, just units of carbon. And you don't need to really know this specific detail coming up, but we do have a term CO2e, and it's it's like chemistry: big C, big O, subscript 2, and then lowercase e. And that's 1 ton of carbon emissions, which isn't literally 1 ton. But you don't need to worry about that part. I'm just explaining that that's the term in use. The main thing is that if you think about countries with a lot of resources, right? Canada and Brazil, for example, they have a lot of lakes and rivers. Denmark, Germany, Mongolia, there's a lot of wind energy available. Uh, one reason why these environmental concerns have come into play and why carbon credits, carbon offsets are it's kind of how everyone's trying to regulate these things. Ironically, two countries with a lot of energy resources have been among the worst offenders. I'm sure a lot of you know that one of them is us, the United States. The other might not be as obvious and for some reasons, but the other one is actually China. Now, both countries have a lot of lakes and rivers. Both countries also have a lot of flat land where you have a lot of wind energy and solar energy. That said, both countries are heavy producers for a lot of different things, manufacturing, consumer goods, all that. So that partly explains what's going on. Also, just the massive populations. When you have the first and third largest countries with high production rates, you do end up with a much larger carbon emission than most other countries relative to their size and all that. It's worth noting that India also struggles with that. A lot of major countries do struggle with that. But the main thing comes down to how do you track carbon credits, carbon offsets, and all that? And this is where Web3 has come into play with tokenization. Now, before we go into the Web3 version of tokenization, I think it's very important to understand tokenization isn't just from Web3. So back in the 70s, 50 years ago, basically, the financial services industry had already implemented some forms of tokenization. And the main thing is you use tokens to protect confidential information. So, for example, you have credit card numbers, right? Social security numbers, maybe your student ID card, maybe that ticket to go to the Duke State game. Sorry, I guess in your case, the State Duke game. But you have some sensitive or very important things, right? So what happens is you want to keep that safe. So let's say your ticket into the game, right? The main thing is that by having that, you're able to get into the game and enjoy what's going on. But let's say you lose that ticket. What happens? Maybe you can prove your identity, right? If you prove your identity, then you're allowed into the game. So this is where if you have a ticket, but you lose it, and the important thing is the ticket is just saying you're allowed in, but you can prove that you have the ticket, right? That's a token. So what happens is in Web3, same concept, except that it's a tokenized digital asset. And this is where you have stuff like blockchain, NFTs, and all that. But the main thing is still very much, it's kind of like having a ticket, right? A ticket to go into the game, right? Or you have a fob that has a certain code that lets you into your room, or you have something that maybe it's a credit card without a number on it, but when you scan things, the number, digitally, the code activates and it transmits, right? So then what happens is in Web3, you can take these tokens and be able to say, okay, great. What if I have blockchain technology? What if I have tokens? And that lets me control and monitor every single carbon credit, right? Then if you want to sell one carbon credit to someone, or if you need to buy more carbon credits from a government because your company needs to do something to, keep running, maybe the US needs more carbon, it needs more carbon credits from Canada, and Canada isn't using it all up. But then maybe sometimes, say Louisiana is able to sell or buy some from Alabama, or Florida from California, right? Maybe there's been a lot of sunlight and wind in Alaska, and then say New York State is able to buy all that because there's been a lot of power failures for whatever reason, maybe, ice storms, Buffalo gets 6 feet, blizzards and stuff like that sometimes, or maybe not 6 feet, 3 feet, but still, there are situations where a local region might get shut down for various reasons. Another one is typhoons when they hit the Philippines, Taiwan, southern China, hurricanes in the Caribbean, earthquakes in Japan, even say Ukraine being invaded right now. A lot of times, unfortunately, you do have things that cause an imbalance. The supply and demand between energy, it gets disrupted. So you can't exactly predict who needs how much carbon credits, but with carbon offsets, you can kind of sell it back and forth. And then someone who's able to use less of it, great, you can keep moving. You can buy and sell all that. But to track all that, that's where tokenization comes into play. So this is why tokenizing carbon credits has been a hot topic, because we've been talking for 26 years about, or more than 26 years, but the Kyoto Protocol was 1997. So it's been 26 years of that. And tokenization started 50 years ago with the financial services industry. And by combining the two concepts, right now we have tokenizing carbon credits. So I don't want to dig too deep into all that because one, you're eating your dinners and all that. Also, two, I like to keep these talks a little more, short and digestible. But I will say, hopefully that helped you understand a little bit more what tokenizing carbon credits is. And if you're, like I said, if you're willing to build a project for that, these are carbon credit part, reducing your carbon footprint, right? That is eligible for Hack NC State's prizes. And then if you add some tokenization, that's Web3, and then you'd be eligible for Hedera's corporate challenge at HackDW3C, and you have 2 extra weeks for that. The submission due date would be 2 Saturdays from now, and you can come to the Fuqua School of Business at Duke campus to present your project in person. So like I said, one project, you can show it off actually online twice, or sorry, on-site twice, once at your school, once at our school, and then you can also submit it online to HackDW3C. And yeah, you'd be eligible for close to around $8,000 of prizes. But more importantly, you would be building something, like I said, tokenizing carbon credits it's a hot topic. So you'd be building something that a lot of companies want to see. And you're also, you're playing your own role in helping the environment. So if you're trying to be an entrepreneur or an innovator, I think a lot of it is you start by taking the skill set you have, and then you figure out what mindset you want to use, right? And then you do what you can with what you have. So hopefully this talk helped you understand a little bit about carbon credits and how there's also something called carbon offsets, how the two are similar, but actually a little different, as well as what tokenization is, also where it came from, and how it applies in Web3. So everyone at Hack NC State, best of luck with everything. Hope you're enjoying your meal. Hope you're enjoying the events. Just keep in mind, if you want to build something that's focusing on carbon, reduce your carbon footprint and tokenization, and then you're eligible for both hackathons, some big prizes. If you want more information about Hedera and their product called Hedera Hashgraph, which you can use to build your project for both hackathons. Actually, I might as well just pull up a screen share real quick. But the main thing is, actually, that's the wrong page. Here it is. So if you go to hedera.com, Hedera, Hedera.com, and then you can also check out Hedera Hashgraph. There's a lot of documentation, a lot of resources. They're also going to have mentors and office hours. The main thing is whatever you build for Hack NC State, you can add this over the next 2 weeks and be eligible. Or if you want to go ahead and add this to your project now and submit to Hack NC State, then you're already eligible for HackDW3C. So like I said, hope you're enjoying your dinner. Definitely encourage y'all to look into how you can reduce carbon footprints. Hopefully this talk about carbon credits helps you understand it a little bit better, how it works. And if you're able to understand the tokenization part, then hopefully, we'd love to see you build your projects in a way that tokenizes carbon credits. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to check the video description below soon. I will also ask Harshal and your event coordinators at Hacking State. I'll also ask them to send an email with some additional links. But then also the video description below, we will have some more information. And then if anyone has any questions, you're also welcome to reach out to me on my LinkedIn, which will be there as well. Also, I will finally join the Hacking State Discord after this, and you'll be able to ask me questions there as well. And then if you're coming from HackDW3C, then, well, you already have our Discord. So if you have any questions, feel free, just wait a little bit longer. When you're done with dinner, all this information will be available either by email from your organizers or in either of your Discords or the video description below. So if there's anything that you want to know, feel free to get on and ask me. And, hopefully Hedera, other mentors can help out as well. So enjoy dinner, everyone, and we will see you around. Good luck.